In today's video, I'm going to show you how to draw a neurographic tree. This is part of the series that I'm doing on neurographic art that's geared towards beginners and for people who just want to have some fun making neurographic style artwork. I won't be covering all the rules and algorithms because, to be honest, I'm not trained to do that. I don't know all of the rules, I don't know all the guidelines, and to be honest, I don't want to. I just want to have fun. I like the way the artwork looks. And if you're watching this video, then you probably do too. Hi, I'm Rashonda. If we haven't met yet, welcome to the channel. I'm glad you're here, and I really hope you enjoy this video as much as I enjoy making it. Now let's go on over to the art studio and make a neurographic tree. All right, today I'm going to be working on a neurographic tree, and I'll be using my Ohuhu fine line drawing pens. I like this set a lot because it has all the different sizes in there. You can get what you need. It's all in one pack, which I think works very nicely. So for this tree, this is, if you've been following this series, I'm showing you from the perspective of creating a neurographic style artwork. Again, I'm not going to teach you anything about the algorithms and all of that sort of stuff because I don't know how to teach that. I'm not really involved in doing that. I think it's an interesting form of art, and I find it very intriguing. But it can also be super intimidating and a little bit overwhelming to try to figure out all the rules and what you can do, what you can't do. I think it's very interesting, but I know that if I feel like it's a little much and I get overwhelmed with it, that other people would as well. So that's why I decided to do this series, because sometimes I don't want to be that involved in my artwork. I just want to do something that looks cool and that I enjoy doing, that I find relaxing. So that's what this is. This is just showing you enough to get you going. And then if you want to get deeper into it, there's a lot of videos out there from people and companies that teach the algorithms and the actual methods of creating the neurographic style art. So I'm going to show you just some simple basics of it, and you can go from there if you want to really get into it. And I need to find the right size that I want. So what I did was, with my little bit bigger pen, is make some bold lines in here. One of the things is to keep it mostly symmetrical. And like I said, I'm not going to talk about the algorithms and all of that and the rules, but I will mention a few things that I think are important to keep the look kind of on point a little bit. We don't want to stray too far from how it's supposed to be done, because then we're not going to get that look. It's not going to be similar enough to represent the style. So what I did was made some bigger lines, and now I'm using a little bit smaller pen, and I'm coming in with the smaller ones. And how many lines you put in here is completely up to you. You could do a more minimalistic style if you wanted to. You could do more, you could do less. So I will share with you a few things about the trees that I learned from watching some different instructional videos. I think when just working on this style of drawing, if you're doing something that just is representing a neurographic tree, I feel like it's not crucial to worry too much about the rules. But you do want it to look like a representation of it. You don't want to get too far off. So I'll share a couple things I learned. One is that you want to keep things symmetrical. So I think that means just this overall shape. You want it to be symmetrical. Your lines are not going to be symmetrical, but I think you do want it to look fairly balanced. In that, I mean, I don't think you want a bunch of lines down here and then fewer lines up top. I think you want it to stay fairly balanced in how it looks, but it's definitely not going to be symmetrical where your lines are concerned. They're going to be more random, but keep your overall shape fairly symmetrical. And then the next thing after you get your lines done, you do circles. And there's two sets of circles. There's one at the bottom and there's one at the top. And the ones on the bottom are, I believe, your resources that you have available to you currently. And then the ones at the top are, I think they refer to them as your fruit. So it'd be like, these are the things you have and the resources that are supporting you now, and it flows into the things that are out there that you want and that you're trying to obtain in the future, I believe. I might not be 100% accurate on explaining that correctly. But the idea is, so with the neurographics, they talk a lot about getting the things you want. It's, I guess the easiest way to explain it would be, it would be a tool to manifest the things that you want in life. So I guess that would be why there's all those specific algorithms and rules and ways that you are supposed to do things. And one of the things that also that in one of the videos that I followed, you're not supposed to turn your paper. You're supposed to keep your paper one direction the whole time, which is sometimes hard because you get weird angles, and like drawing circles, it's kind of hard to draw a circle when your paper is at an awkward angle. And it's hard to draw a good circle anyway, I feel like. With just drawing with a pen and trying to go from point A to point B on your circle gets a little challenging. But at any rate, so you're going to have a symmetrical shape of your tree and then circles on the top and bottom. And that's pretty much the gist of the overall design and what it looks like. And I don't want to get too far in the weeds with things because, as I mentioned in my previous videos, I am not trained to teach neurographic art. I just think it looks really cool. And when I started looking into it, it feels like a bit much to me. There's a lot of conflicting information out there from different people. There's schools and universities that teach it, that teach entire courses on all the rules of neurographic art. And that doesn't feel very relaxing to me. So that's why I made these videos, just to show you. I like to show different forms of art that maybe you're not familiar with. And then if you find it to be interesting, from there you can dig in deeper. But I decided to make the videos in this neurographic series because I do think the artwork is really interesting and it is very relaxing to make it. So this next step is rounding everything off. So what you do is find where your lines intersect and you have these kind of sharp edges. You make them round and then you just fill in the corner part. You round it off and you kind of have to outline a little bit to make it smooth. And you just keep going around, find all these different pointed areas and make them nice and smooth and not pointed. So that would be the next step. You do this down here where the circles are, and you could go back in and make your lines darker. You could put additional lines going next to them and have kind of like a double line, or you could probably even do like maybe a triple line. Whatever you want to do. So now I don't know what the rules are as far as how to do your lines. If there are any sort of rules, if you're following the actual guidelines and the algorithms and all that they teach. But like I've mentioned in my previous neurographic videos in this series, I don't feel like my artwork needs an algorithm. I feel like I just want to make some pretty art and relax and be at peace with it, and I don't want to stress out about there being so many rules. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels that way. So yeah, so now this part, it can be a little bit tedious because it does take quite a while to do this part of it. And I am working on a half sheet of cardstock because a full sheet really takes a long time. And I tend to not want to finish them when I work on full sheets. But this can feel a little bit tedious, but it's also the most relaxing part of it. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up, and I'll be back with you on the next part of it, which is going to be adding the color. I have all the inking part done. I rounded off the shapes. And then I went back in and made the circles a little bit bolder, the outline of the circles. So you can go back and forth and you could add lines. You could do more even after you color it. You can keep working on it and keep adding to it as you see things that maybe you want to change or need a little bit of attention. So my thought is, for the coloring, I wanted to do watercolor pencils, but I can't find them, or I might not have them anymore. It's not something I use all the time. So not sure where those are at. So I'm just going to go ahead and use markers. And I'm not entirely sure how I want to do it, so I'm going to let it evolve as I go. But I have this brown color, it's called brown gray, and I'm just using my Ohuhu brush. I'm going to use the brush tip. And this is kind of this is a pink color. So I'm going to try blending these two together in the trunk area. And then I have a couple of green markers that I'm going to use for the top. And then I think I'm going to use some pink and purple on the bottom. And then I'll figure out some colors. I have orange and yellow for either these circles down here or these circles up here. And then I might just repeat some of these other colors in the other circles. So that's my plan. I'm not sure exactly how this is going to go because this is a little bit different from anything I've done before, which is what I like doing. So I've talked about it quite a bit in the past. When I do my artwork, I like to try different things. I don't want to just always be doing the same things all the time. One of the things that I really get excited about with my artwork is experimenting and trying something new. So with that, you don't know how it's going to turn out. There are some risks of things not going exactly as planned, and I'm okay with that. I want to try new things. I want to experiment. I like to be curious about my artwork and what I'm doing. So for example, the way I'm coloring this, it was just something I wanted to try. I didn't know how it's gonna turn out. I've only done a few of these neurographic trees, and as a matter of fact, I think this might be the first one I've actually colored. I want to say the first two that I did, I think I mentioned this earlier in the video, that I did them on full pieces of paper and they took so long, I kind of just lost interest in it. And I'd have to go back through and look, but I don't even think I tried coloring it. I don't think I got that far. So anyway, I like to try different things. I like to experiment. I like to have fun. I don't want to have a ton of pressure on myself to try to make everything perfect, and my motivation, I guess, isn't always just the end result, which of course we all want our artwork to look nice and be aesthetically pleasing, not autistically pleasing. Yeah, don't try to think and talk at the same time. It doesn't work out very good. We all want our artwork to be aesthetically pleasing. But we also got to experiment and try new things and get out of our comfort zone and have a little bit of fun with it. Can't always be so serious that it just takes the fun out of it. Right? Art should be play. Should be playful. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this in a time lapse. I'll probably do some of it off camera as well so the video doesn't get too long, because I'm finding it difficult to think about what I'm doing with my colors and talking at the same time. And I don't want to make a video of me not making sense. That would not be good. So I think I like how this looks. I'm not entirely sure what I want to do down here, because somewhere I want to transition it into a different color, and I'm not sure where or how I want to do that. And I don't want to just stop. I don't want to end one shape with the color and then just switch to a different one, like color this brown and then just color the next one with this salmon color. I want to have the two fade into each other. So I'm finding that I have to think about this a little more than what I normally do in my drawings. And that's okay. But I think I'm going to just keep repeating the same type of a thing. So I think what I'll do is work up with this brown, and then I'm going to blend it towards the top somewhere with this peach color again, is what I'm thinking. And then somehow transition in with the green. But I'm not 100% sure how to go about doing that. And then down here, I'm going to transition into this pink and purple. So what I'm thinking, and I don't know how it's going to look, but what I'm thinking is, just to show you an example, I would come down here with this peach color, and then maybe take this pink and bring the pink up into that peach color. And then see if I can soften up this. Yeah, that's not too bad. And then this would blend in with this pink and the purple down here. So that's my plan. And then I'm going to do just a similar thing up here at the top and transition into the greens. So I'm going to go ahead and do this off camera, or do it in a time lapse. I'll probably do a little bit of a time lapse, and then I'll do the rest of it off camera. And then I'll be back with you when I have the color all filled in and show you what I have. This is what I have after I finished coloring in with the alcohol markers. I like how the color turned out. I like the brown fading into the different colors. I think that turned out pretty good. But what I didn't like the background just white. So I added in some more lines in the background. And the other thing I want to do to finish it up is I think I want this outline of the tree to be bolder. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to take my pen. This is from the Ohuhu set. This is the biggest one that is in there. And I'm just going to go right along this outside edge and make this bigger. So I've mentioned in a lot of my videos that making art is just a series of decisions, and they could end up being the right decision, they could end up being the wrong decision. I kind of feel like there really aren't any wrong decisions necessarily, because if you do something and it doesn't turn out the way you envisioned it, you at least learn something from it. So I feel like even if it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to, I think learning from what you're doing is just as valuable and probably more valuable than everything always coming out perfect and whatever your end result is. So unless you're trying to be a professional artist, which in that case you don't want there to be mistakes, and the stakes are higher, right? But if you're just a hobby artist, I consider myself a hobby artist. I make art for my own enjoyment. It relaxes me. It's fun. I like to experiment and try new things. And I make the videos. I started making videos because I miss teaching. I used to be a art teacher in the classroom. I taught kindergarten through 8th grade. And when I changed careers due to life circumstances, aka I needed to make more money, I miss teaching art. So making the videos and having a connection with people helps fill that void. But for me personally, I'm creating artwork because I enjoy it. I do it for me. I share what I do because I like teaching, and I hope that these videos can help somebody, and if it can help just one person, then that makes it completely worth it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you feel inspired to create some of your own neurographic artwork. And I'll tell you what, this tree was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Working on the half sheet was definitely a good decision. I am going to try doing some neurographics on artist trading cards because I'm curious how that will work, or if it's just going to be too small. So I'll probably do a tree on the artist trading cards, see how that goes, and see if I feel relaxed or if it feels more tense. And I'll be sharing some of that with you in the near future. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this. Happy creating. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully you feel inspired to create some of your own artwork. If you did enjoy the video, please hit the like button. It really helps me out and I really appreciate it. And also subscribe to get notified of future videos. and I will see you next time. Bye!